Welcome to this week's installment of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don Henninger. I'm Don, and joining me, as always, is my podcast partner and a man with a green thumb.
I thought you were going to say Mr. Organic. That's a good one.
I got green thumb for you. Kevin Maxwell with a green thumb.
That's right.
Yeah,
How you doing, Don?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. We're here in the studio again for another wonderful week with another fantastic guest.
Yeah.
Today's guest is truly a sustainability champion. J.D. Hill is the inspiration and founder of Recycled City, which is a fascinating story. 10 years ago, J.D. started composting recycled food in his backyard.
Yeah.
And now he's got a company of about 20 employees, and you're recycling 12,000 pounds of food a day. Mm-hmm. That's an amazing story. Most of that comes from commercial customers like restaurants and hotels who pay him to take the recyclable food waste away and put it to use as compost on his farm, which we're going to talk about. He's basically turning food waste back into farmland instead of sending it off to a landfill. What an awesome thing you got going, JD. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. So you've got like 150 commercial customers, 3,500 residential customers all across the valley, including 20 businesses in Scottsdale where you pick up recycled food waste, and some 500 residential accounts in the city. What an amazing concept, man.
Yeah, tell us about it, man. Where'd you start? Are you from Arizona originally, or?
No, I grew up in Minnesota.
Okay.
And I moved to Arizona right after high school. Went to Mesa Community College for a couple of years and then transferred to ASU. Went to the W.P. Carey School of Business, got a finance degree. It was 2009, and there wasn't many jobs. So my counselor was like, the school of sustainability just started. You can get a whole nother degree with 18 credits. So
Really?
Yep. So I did that, and so I have 2 bachelor degrees, finance, sustainability. I got a certificate in entrepreneurship from the business school, and I really wanted to be a farmer when I graduated. But small farming is a very difficult business, so I didn't go into it right away.
That's amazing. The background you have and the passion for farming has all come together in the perfect storm.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it has. Right.
I'm trying hard.
So how did you come up with the idea for this? Where was the inspiration for that?
So I learned I call it the 5-gallon bucket business. Basically, you give a household a 5-gallon bucket. The household puts their coffee grounds, banana peels, paper towels in the bucket. And somebody like me comes by once a week, just like the trash and recycling, swaps the bucket with a clean one. And in 2010, the first company like that started in the U.S. And then by 2012, I had heard about it. I learned about it. And I was like, that's how I could be a farmer, because, who's not going to want to buy the food from the farm their food waste goes to?
Yeah.
And, I had my finance hat on. So, 10 years later, we have a fleet of Sprinter vans where half of it's a refrigeration unit, half of it's a cargo unit for the buckets, one driver, one truck, et cetera, doing 2 services at the same time. So nobody can deliver local produce to somebody's door at a lower price than we can.
So where was what's the inspiration to want to be in the farming business? Where were the roots for that?
Is that your Minnesota days?
No. So it came from the School of Sustainability. Agriculture is a major issue when it comes to sustainability. Kind of reaches everything.
Oh, yeah. Uses
all the water, all the land. It's what feeds us. So I was getting really into it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So go ahead, Don.
No, go.
I was going to say, so 2009, I want to take us a little bit further. So 2009, you have a finance degree, and there's not a lot of jobs. So you go into the sustainability school. But what do you think would have happened had there been jobs available? What do you think you'd be doing right now? Were you going to go into work for a hedge fund or anything, or what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I tried getting an analyst job at like Target and Wells Fargo, et cetera.
Okay.
Those interviews are funny stories, but I didn't land a job.
Right.
And
Tell us one of the funny stories.
Well, so I move home in 2010 after I graduate. I'm living with my parents. And Target's a big in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's headquartered there. Right?
Yeah. So I get through the phone interviews. They bring me into downtown. It's a whole day long at Target. I interview with the VPs of like a few different areas. And then there's a jazz bar at the end. They have their own little jazz bar at Tempe headquarters.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And all the recruitees were all getting glasses of wine and talking to each other. And the recruiter comes by and it's like, hey, Greg, the CEO, is going to come by, try to make a good impression. He remembers everything. He'll go back to his office, write it down. And Greg comes over to us and he said something about Walmart. And Walmart's big with the school of sustainability. And they were working on, and still are, like a nutrition facts, but for sustainability facts on a product. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm at the School of Sustainability. Walmart's doing this. What's Target doing? And he goes,
there you go.
He set his wine glass down and he goes, pardon my French, but sustainability's a bunch of shit.
Oh, no.
Is that right?
Oh, no.
And then he just started digging into me for like 10 minutes. A recruiter had to come over, grab him, and say, hey, Greg, you need to talk to everybody here. And he's like, oh no, I gotta go, see you later. And everybody around me was just like, oh,
you ain't getting this job, buddy, are you?
No kidding.
He's going to remember your name, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and that was 2010 then, right?
Yeah.
So,
11,
I wonder if his stance has changed quite a bit. I'm sure it has.
He's not there anymore.
Yeah, of course not.
And
he's not sustainable.
Target's really gone into sustainability.
Have they really?
Really hard, yeah.
You have to now, given the climate for what people want. That's product demand. I think Walmart, maybe they were ahead of the game, huh? That's pretty cool. Great story. You want to tell us the other story too? I like that one a lot. That was pretty good.
The other one at Wells Fargo, my buddy, his dad is really high up. He was at Wachovia, and Wells Fargo took him over and got me into St. Louis Wells Fargo Advisors. Flew me down. I had the whole day, bunch of different people. And they flew me home, and my buddy gives me a call. He goes, what did you say to them? And I'm like, what? They called you Obi-Wan Kenobi. They said you talked about gardening the whole time. And
really?
Yeah, because I was living with my parents, and I had just started a community garden working with my hometown school board and city council. And I had started my own little business where I was going to come into your backyard, build the garden, maintain it for you, harvest the vegetables.
Right.
So that's kind of like what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about finance much.
Yeah, right.
as an example of your entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's be thankful you did not get either of those jobs. It's fantastic because you're off on a better mission now. But so you wanted to be a farmer. You've got your idea about the composting thing down, but you didn't have a farm. You didn't have any land yet, right? So how did that happen? How'd you get a farm?
Well, I said I'm in. So I just started finding 5-gallon buckets behind Dilly's Deli, Chiba Hut, and started telling people like you guys, hey, I'll give you the bucket. Come by your house once a week. This is what it's going to cost. And I started composting it all in my backyard, basically. It was my buddy's backyard. And I had to do bokashi composting, which is a fermentation process of composting. I didn't have a tractor, or anything. I had a shovel. And I fermented all the food waste with the bokashi in a food waste barrel. And then you dig a trench and bury the food waste, mix it in. And then the top 6 inches of the trench is all soil. And like a month later, you can come in, plant right in there.
Okay.
And it's a way to, do composting.
That's bokashi? That's
bokashi with a B, yeah.
Okay.
And so that's how I got started. And Cindy Gentry, who was running the Tempe Farmers Market, I had gone to Goodwill, got an old ironing board and a cloth, and I had my table set up at the farmer's market, and I'd start showing up every Saturday morning, and I really couldn't move my arms that much because I was digging so many holes. And she's like, you really need some help. So she put me together with John Wan at the Orchard Community Learning Center in South Phoenix. It's like a community farm. And John had a tractor, let me use it. I started making compost with his tractor, give the nonprofit all the compost. And that worked out for like a year. And then I had some money. I bought my own tractor, a little bit bigger. And then I started leasing 2.5 acres in Laveen in 2016. And then in 2019, we moved to the property we're on now, which is 16.5 acres.
That's a lot of land, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and where's your property now? South Phoenix?
Yep. Baseline, 19th Avenue.
That used to be a big farm and orchard country down there. You know, a lot of places have been replaced by housing now, but that's a natural place to have it, isn't it?
Soil's good for growing.
So what is 12,000 pounds of food, which was what you do a day? What's that? Give us some sense of what that looks like. How much is that? 12,000 pounds seems like a lot. But if you were going to fill up a room or something, just give us a visual on what 12,000 pounds of food looks like.
Well, I'll use the example of like a U-Haul box truck.
Okay.
You're going to fill that 4 times.
4 times.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing that every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 4, 5 times. Yeah. All the way full to the top. We use bigger trucks than that.
Okay.
But that's a good ballpark.
So do you use the bokashi method on your farm in South Phoenix?
No. So now ever since I came out of the backyard, haven't been bokashi composting. Okay. Doing traditional hot composting. It's called aerated composting with oxygen. So we use a tractor and a bucket, turn the compost, flip it over, water it when you need.
So what's the timeline on when some recycled food waste gets to your farm? What's the sort of turnover rate before it becomes productive and making the soil work?
We take over a year.
Okay.
So we accept everything, all food waste. So every single food waste item, proteins, dairy, all of it. And then your paper towels, napkins, stuff like that. And then we take your compostable dishware. So you've seen the plastic cup that says it's compostable.
Yeah.
We accept that.
Okay.
And then U.S. Composting Council, has done a bunch of studies on that, and there's certification programs. Basically 6 months at 140 degrees or more to break that stuff down.
Okay.
We're taking well over a year to compost the material.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, the city of Phoenix composts certain food waste in 45 days, 60 days.
Okay. Huh.
But they're not messing with everything.
Right.
They're selective about what they take, right?
Right.
Okay, wow. Now, just for our audience who may not know, and probably me too, I'm going to throw myself in there. What's the benefits of composting from a farming standpoint?
Well, generally, it's going to retain water, and it's going to add nutrients to the soil and something called organic matter, which is carbon, basically, and that's really beneficial to plants. So that's like a general, reason why to use compost. What this model has turned into with all the revenue we get from the food waste pickup, we're able to pay all the overhead costs of the typical small farm. So the land, the water, the tractor, the diesel fuel, the seed, the refrigeration, everything minus labor. We cover all the overhead, and then we partner with a farmer. He has his own LLC. Gets to come onto the property, use everything, and then we buy 100% of what he grows in his farming business. So we're saying we're taking the risk out of small farming with utilizing the food waste revenue in this way. So the farm gets all the compost. We use all the compost on the farm. We buy the extra chicken pellet, that we need for fertilizer. And, it's opening up opportunities for somebody like me. When I graduated, I wanted to be a farmer, but there's no way. You're going to get a loan for land, a loan for equipment, a working capital loan, hopefully grow a crop, have a buyer. Otherwise it's not going to work.
Yeah, right. It's not exactly a startup business, is it?
Yeah.
So we're really de-risking, small urban agriculture. Mm-hmm. It's really easy for us to sell and distribute the local produce, and now my farmer can even compete on wholesale.
Wow.
So, because he has no costs.
Yeah.
His cost is labor, and as long as I can deliver enough quantity, I have the routes and the distribution. So it's not just a model to distribute and grow produce to people's homes. Like, this could be something where it'll save businesses money.
That's fantastic.
So go ahead. What kind of products what are they growing down there?
Carrots, beets, kale, collards, storage radishes, watermelon radish, daikon radish, and then we're moving into summer. A lot of summer squash, yellow, green, striped, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, the melons, the beans, okra.
Wow,
Sounds like it's the
that's
whole
a lot of stuff.
9 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all seasonal, so it's always changing.
Okay. Do you hit any farmers markets or anything, or is it just dealing with your clients?
So our farmer, he does the downtown farmers market in Phoenix every Saturday.
Okay.
I think it's like 8 to noon, basically. Hopefully we can do more farmers markets.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So talk about sort of the business model, how it works, because you're out recruiting businesses as well as residential deals. So where are you with the business recruitment? How do you get in front of more businesses? Talk a little bit about how that whole part of the business works.
So we have plenty of people emailing us just inquiring
Is that right?
to sign up for commercial composting. So, Wells Fargo Advisors has a big complex in South Chandler. They emailed me a couple weeks ago, said, we want to sign up. The Marriott Hotels has been a huge supporter of us. So we do the Phoenician, the JW Desert Ridge, JW Camelback, the Westin Kierland.
Those are big clients.
The Sheridan.
Yeah.
Well, they're not picking up stuff in a $5 billion bucket, I bet.
No.
You got dumpsters out there,
Yeah.
probably, right? Yeah.
So we use either a 60-gallon food waste barrel, or we use a 64-gallon roll cart, like a traditional garbage roll cart like everybody has at their house.
Yeah.
And then we swap them with clean ones.
Okay.
You can get up to 400 pounds in the barrel. So all the resorts are just taking the barrel straight into the kitchen, loading it all up, and then there's a really simple tool you can get at Granger that I let them know about. Anybody can just move that 400-pound barrel really easily right outside and then just bring a new one in, an empty, clean one. And it actually saves a lot of labor time, so steps, people going in and out.
Yeah.
And then lugging bags of trash. The employees tend to really once they get used to the program, they tend to really like the program.
That's nice. So do you also supply them with produce, some of the bigger clients like that?
Yeah, Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company.
Yeah, downtown.
Yep. So they buy beets and carrots.
Okay.
If you're going there, tonight, you're going to have beets and carrots from us.
From your farm,
Yep.
right?
All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Commercially, we don't do a lot. I'm selling everything almost at retail to the households, and
Residential,
and then I support a lot of other local farms. So I go and buy, so we can have variety, and I can actually sell a lot more than what our farm is producing. So I'm putting thousands of dollars every week into other local farms as well.
Oh, that's cool. So do you have deals with like the Arizona Restaurant Association to get in front of them or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because that might be a good source, right, to get more restaurant. And how actively are you recruiting or you're marketing yourself? Are you trying to grow the business quite a bit, or where are you with that?
I've been hustling
Yeah.
for 11 years.
It sounds like it.
And it's been a bootstrap business.
Yeah.
My admin team, everybody that knows anything about my business says I run the leanest, tightest business. Like, nobody could do this.
Is that right?
My admin team is me and Crystal works 20 hours a week. So I have no admin team almost.
Okay.
It's all drivers, people dumping buckets, washing buckets.
How many drivers do you have?
12.
One admin and 20-hour part-timer, and then 12 full-time drivers.
Yeah.
Huh?
So I do all the sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have recently made a partnership with a startup company out of San Francisco, a venture-backed company called Mill, and it was started by the founders of Nest, who went to Google.
Yeah, that's big. That's a big VC outfit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they've just partnered with me in November. So a lot of those problems, are getting fixed.
Yeah. So talk about the residential side of your business. You got 3,500 residential clients, 500 in Scottsdale, and I assume you're growing that too. How does it work on the residential side?
So you can sign up for a 14-day free trial at r.city or recycledcity.com. We have a free trial page. The 5-gallon bucket is a 14-day free trial. We deliver the 5-gallon bin to your house. We come by the following week, exchange it, then we come back again, and then you get to decide if you want to pick up every week, every other week, or once a month. And then we have a 30-day free trial where you get the Mill bin, which it looks like a trash can, but it's a food recycler dehydrator. Has a foot pedal on it, looks just like a trash can. You just throw all your food into the bin. Every night it starts grinding and drying everything. So every day you can continually add to it and not have to empty it more than like once a month. We have 3,500 customers, and now over 10% of those have converted and said, yeah, I want one of these machines in my house.
Oh, okay.
And we pair it with the service. So you get the machine and our pickup, and then you can either get compost back once a quarter or a free farm box. All of it's just $35 a month for everything. The bin is always taken care of. You're going to get the pickup and everything. So it's really helping out with households. Typically, there's like a superstar of the household that is really driving it, and they can get discouraged really easily. I get emails all the time for many years saying, hey, I'm the only one in my house doing this. I can't keep doing this. I'm going to take a break. Maybe I'll come back.
Yeah.
But this is just so easy. It takes out all the smell, all the bugs, any of the fear, and then the effort. It's just a foot pedal, just like every trash can.
Yeah.
You just toss it in there. I had I have a partner that liked to leave her banana peel on the counter because she didn't want to open up the 5-gallon bucket, or she'd toss it, something would be wrapped in plastic and she'd toss it in the trash, And this has helped a lot. That banana peel's going into the trash can or into the Mill bin, and it really helps out with. I have a 6-year-old kid, easy. He loves it. You get to name the bin and feed the bin.
Yeah, feed the bin.
Right on.
Love it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, even for me. Putting stuff in the bin. It's kind of fun.
So you have a partnership, or at least a collaboration, with the city of Scottsdale too. What's that all about?
Yep. It was started in November. So the city of Scottsdale is doing a year-long food waste awareness campaign. On their website, I think it's scottsdale.gov/food waste. You can find all about how to compost at home, how to access tools like there's at-home worm composting bins. There's other electronic composters. And then there's also a link to our service. We're the only residential pickup service in the Valley for 11 years. And we hope over the next year, because we're really focused on Scottsdale right now, that we'll double. It's taken me 10 years to get in November. I had 453 active households in Scottsdale.
That's great, yeah.
And, our goal this year, we're 6 months into it, is to double that number. So we want to get to 906, by November. And we're, not far off pace from it.
That's great. Congratulations on that. So I kind of wonder what the relationship might be with like HOAs and stuff that would really help that residential deal. Do you have partnerships with them too?
Yeah. So the hardest part for me is customer acquisition, getting emails out, raising awareness. We save municipalities money. When you don't put food waste in your city of Scottsdale trash can, we're saving the city money just on how much ever they pay per pound to dump that stuff.
Yeah, good point.
Just right there, we're saving the city money. And then there's other co-benefits like, not dirty trash cans.
That's fantastic. Ken, this is another cool Scottsdale story, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you have an ally in the city. It's kind of helping you out. I think it's one of your first customers and somebody familiar with, somebody we've had on the podcast before. Tell us about your relationship.
So Vice Mayor Whitehead learned about us back in 2014. She heard an NPR radio segment about us and signed up. And I was the pickup driver still back then. I started with my buddy had a Tacoma in his backyard. It hadn't been running for a couple years, and we put a battery in it, and that was my go-to-market vehicle. And I strapped a Blue Barrel into the back of the Tacoma, and I would get out, and I'd go up to your door, grab your bucket. So I'm at Solange's house, and I'm going up, grab her bucket. I go back to the Tacoma, I'm dumping the bucket in the barrel, and then I would wash the bucket out right there, really gross.
Yeah.
But I did a great job, I need you to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And she would come out and talk to me, and I'd be like down on one knee washing the bucket, and she would be telling me about how everybody needs to do this.
Right. Yeah. She's passionate, right?
Yeah, she's definitely passionate with that.
Yep.
JD, great story. What a great service you got going. Really appreciate getting a chance to know you and your business a little bit. Tell us the website again where people can get more information about you.
city or recycledcity.com.
Fantastic. I would encourage anybody that's got any interest in this at all to look that up and get on his list, man. This is a great service.
I don't cook enough. Otherwise, I would. You cook a lot.
We do some cooking, not as much as probably everybody, but I can generate my fair share of waste.
Can you?
Yeah, I'll find some waste out there that works for that. I think it's a great service. But JD, thanks for what you're doing. You're a role model for a true environmental steward in addition to following your passion, man. So I think it's a great story, and just glad we had a chance to share some of that with our listeners today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thanks to all of you for listening. We'll see you next week for our latest edition of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.